Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be giving you about 6 tips on how you can maintain a clean kitchen all of the time. We all know that the kitchen is considered to be the center of the home. It's usually one of the rooms that you spend the most time in, and it's also the room that tends to get the most messy the easiest because we're cooking or we're making lunch or we're just always in there and we're always making messes in there. So these tips are going to help you maintain a clean kitchen all the time. I realize that if you have children, you may not have a clean kitchen all the time. I mean, I don't have a clean kitchen all of the time, but the kitchen is a place that I try to prioritize and make sure that I keep clean as much as possible because, like I said, it is the center of the home and I just absolutely cannot function if my kitchen is a wreck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into my 6 tips on how to maintain a clean kitchen. So the first tip that I'm going to give you, pretty much everybody says this, is to do the dishes while you cook. I know it can be a little bit of a tedious task if you're trying to cook and also do your dishes, but what I do is when I'm cooking, if I'm cooking, say I'm cooking pasta on the stove, when the pasta is done, I go ahead and wash the pot and set it in the drying rack. As you use dishes, if you go ahead and wash them while you're using them, it will greatly reduce the amount of cleanup time you'll have after you make a meal, because we all know we don't want to spend a ton of time cooking in the kitchen and then we eat the meal and then we've got a ton of dishes left over to do. So if you do them as you go, then by the time you finish eating, the only dishes you'll have to wash are your plates that you ate off of. I don't recommend using paper plates. We don't personally use paper plates in our house because number one, they cost money, and number two, they're not very good for the environment. So we use our regular everyday dishes and we use glasses. So we do have a lot of dishes. And on top of that, another thing that I think I should mention is we do not have a dishwasher. We do not have a place for a dishwasher in our house. Our house was built in 1960 and apparently they didn't have dishwashers, or this house at least did not have a dishwasher. There's no place to put one. I've considered putting one in, but in order to put one in, I would have to lose a lot of cabinet space in order to do that, and I don't want to do that. So by staying on top of my dishes, it really reduces the amount of time that I spend cleaning up in the kitchen. And it's an absolute necessity for me, since I do not have a dishwasher, that I stay on top of the dishes as I use them. So like I said, if you do your dishes while you cook, it will cut down on all your cleanup time, and you might as well just go ahead and do it because you have to wash them at some point anyway. So if you just wash them while you cook, then it's already done. The next tip is a pretty simple one. It's just to leave your cleaning spray and a rag out while you're in the kitchen. So what I mean by this is I have a amber glass spray bottle with a DIY countertop spray in it. I use this for my countertops, I use it for my sink, I use it for my oven top, like the cooktop on it. I use it for all that stuff. So I will keep it out, and I'll keep a cleaning rag out on the counter as well while I'm in the kitchen cooking and cleaning. So if I make a mess, I just go ahead and clean it up. Or when I finish washing the dishes, I always spray down my sink. I spray around my sink. So I just keep that spray bottle out so that I know I've constantly got it in the forefront of my mind to spray things down and to clean things while I'm going. So I'm super productive and I'm not waiting until the end and then not feeling like it. So if you keep the spray out, it keeps it in the forefront of your mind to be cleaning while you're going. Something else that I do, especially as a minimalist, is I do not have kitchen gadgets on my countertop. The only gadget that I have on my countertop right now is my KitchenAid mixer. Occasionally, depending on what coffee pot I'm using, I may have the coffee pot on the counter, but we've actually been using the French press lately, so I went ahead and put my coffee pot back up underneath my countertop in my cabinet where I keep my appliances. I do not keep a toaster on the counter. I do not keep, what's another thing that people keep on their counters a lot? Like people keep like their crock pot and their toaster oven and just all this different stuff on the counters. I don't keep anything on my counters. I keep the KitchenAid there because it's pretty and because it's kind of heavy to move around. So I keep it on the counters because I do use it quite frequently, but it is the only appliance that I really keep on my countertops. by keeping your countertops clean of appliances and even excessive home decor. Some people put a lot of home decor on their countertops. I try to keep it very simple and functional. By not having a lot of stuff on your countertops, your kitchen will already have the appearance of looking cleaner. It's kind of like a hack, like a secret hack. Like, even if you have dishes in your sink, if your counters are clear, then it's gonna look like your house is cleaner. Plus, it just cuts down on the amount of clutter that you have to move around every time you wipe your countertops. So that's a very important tip to keep in mind if you're looking to have your kitchen look cleaner more often or all of the time. If you keep your counters clean, it will definitely help you with that. This next tip is, again, very simple. I feel like all of these tips are really simple, but never, ever, ever let your dishes pile up. And I know when I was working, this was very hard. It's a lot easier for me now that I'm not working. I know that if you're working, it can be very difficult when you come home and you cook, and then you have all these dishes, and if you don't run out of time and you leave them for the next day, and then the next day's dishes get piled on top of it, it just becomes this giant, monstrous mess, and you don't even want to touch it. And if you had just done the 3 dishes that were there in the first place, the night before, if you'd have gone ahead and washed them, then you wouldn't have this gigantic mess. And that would happen to me all the time when I was working, and it was just so frustrating. And there's nothing more discouraging than walking into your house at the end of your workday and seeing a giant pile of dishes in your sink that you have to wash, plus you have to cook supper. So that's where my first tip comes back in handy, is when you are cooking, you go ahead and clean your dishes as you go, because then you don't have a big pile at the end of the day. But if you have a few dishes in your sink, go ahead and do those so that they don't pile up, because when they pile up, it's overwhelming and you don't want to do it. My next tip is to stay organized. What I mean by this is have functional stations in your kitchen so that you stay more organized. If you stay more organized, then your kitchen will automatically stay more clean. For instance, I have all of my cleaning stuff in one cabinet. I have a tin underneath my sink where I throw all of my dirty dish towels and dish rags, and then once a week I will wash those. I have just my pantry. I have my pantry organized. Things are in different jars. Let me know if you guys want to see a pantry tour. My pantry is not the prettiest, but I save old salsa jars and pasta jars, and I organize my pantry with those. So if you stay more organized, your kitchen will just automatically look cleaner and be cleaner and feel cleaner. My final tip that I want to give you guys is actually a tip that I learned from Caitlin over at the channel Mrs. Midwest. She puts her kitchen to bed every night, and I think that is such a cute idea anyway, putting your kitchen to bed. But it's something that actually my mom always used to do, and I've tried to practice it as well, is to never go to bed with your kitchen dirty. Go ahead, do your dishes, wipe your counters off, clean off any of the crumbs from the day, sweep your floors. If you get your kitchen 100% clean before you go to bed, the next morning it's like everything is reset and you don't wake up to a dirty kitchen, because we all know, ladies, that when you wake up to a dirty kitchen, it's not a good start to your day. It's not a very productive start to your day when you're like, oh, I've got to clean this kitchen. You don't want to do that first thing in the morning. So when you reset, and it's like this with anything, if you reset the night before, you'll be more productive the next day. So what I have been doing is following her tip of putting my kitchen to bed each night, in that I just make sure that there's no dishes in the sink. There may be some drying, but there's no dirty dishes in the sink. My counters are clear. I've got everything reset for the next morning so that when I wake up, I don't have to clean the kitchen and I don't have this giant weight around my head like, ugh, I've got to go clean this kitchen, I've got to go do these dishes. It's just not good. So I have really been enjoying having a clean kitchen, and all of these tips have helped me to maintain a clean kitchen most of the time. I understand not everybody's going to have a clean kitchen 100% of the time. Nobody's going to have a clean kitchen 100% of the time. But if you follow these tips, they will definitely help your productivity, and they will help your kitchen to at least have the appearance of being cleaner more often. Minimalism has been a huge key in my whole house for helping me to keep my house clean. Even if I don't deep clean, but if I don't have to deep clean every day. I don't even have to clean everything every day. Just having less stuff and less clutter, having more functional stations in my home, being more organized has helped give the appearance of my house being clean without me having to constantly be scrubbing and cleaning and doing dishes. and sweeping my floors and everything every single day. So I hope these tips were helpful to you. If they were, please be sure to leave this video a thumbs up. Please leave any helpful tips that you have down below in the comment section. And as always, make sure to subscribe before you leave so you can be a part of my YouTuber family. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.